Yes, people, welcome back to another stream on Gunners Street to that Gunners Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We have a big stream today. We have so many topics to get into. We'll have friend of the KP, we'll have friend of the show KP on a little bit later. Let's see if he comes through. But if not, people, we have a big show to talk about. A lot of talking points we need to get through. Want to cover the North London Derby review. Want to just put a bow on that, put a nice little wrap up on that. Then we're going to talk about Chelsea. And then the big question I have in the comment section, people, is would you prefer the UCL or the Premier League? And who also is your dream Premier League or Champions League draw this season for the Arsenal? Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, people. Like I said, it's a big stream coming soon, and I'm taking all questions and queries in the comment section down below. If this is your first time on the channel, like I said, I have anything Arsenal related all here on this channel. This is Gunner Street. And like I said, friend of the show, KP will be coming through soon. So don't forget to drop a like, show some love, show some support. We're going to be going through the North London Derby, like I said, previewing Chelsea, also looking at the Champions League tie and how that draw will come through, previewing the draw for Friday. So like I said, show some love and support. Without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So first of all, I want to talk about the North London Derby. Just want to slightly touch on that before I move on and look past that, because there's been a lot of talk about Arsenal fans getting too excited after the North London Derby win. What does that really mean? Should we hold enough weight, seeing how bad Tottenham have been this season in the Premier League? Should we hold weight to that result? And honestly, coming from me, ladies and gentlemen, I think you have to put some weight into that result, because we see people like City who were 2-0 up at halftime go in and not come away with 3 points from that stadium. On top of that, going into that game, all the pressure was on Arsenal. City the day before closed the gap to 2 points. They put the pressure on us. We now have to go and win, coming off the back of a really disappointing result against Wolves, and even before that, a really disappointing performance and result against Brentford. It's going into a North London derby. You're saying, okay, anything can happen, even though we have a good record at Spurs and Spurs don't have a good home record. Anything can happen in a derby game. Anything can happen from a Spurs point of view. And from Arsenal's point of view, you have to go and approach that game with the utmost professionalism and the utmost seriousness. And I think we did. Barring the Declan Rice chance and giveaway for them to get their goal, I thought we were absolutely brilliant in the North London derby. And that's the type of response you want to see. The manager said it. Sorry, guys. The light just went out on me right there. It's craziness. Okay. Apologies, people. But yeah, the manager said it for himself. That North London Derby win, or that North London Derby match, was a big one for Eze. When Eze went into Mikel Arteta's office before the match, he says, Gaffer, I need to be playing. Gaffer, I want to be playing. This is games where I should be playing. These are big, massive games for me and my stock to especially get into the England team. Because if Eze wants to have any chance of being at the World Cup, he's going to have to go and show some quality in these last couple of games this season. And what a way to start that off for him, by getting another 2 goals at Tottenham, another great performance, and for Victor Gyökeres as well. Silence the doubters. He's 2 goals away from being the highest scorer in the first season under Mikel Arteta, or highest scoring striker in general under Mikel Arteta. I think that stat was last season. He's already outscored our goal scorers from last season. So as much as you want to say about Gyökeres, he is hitting form at the perfect time for us. And if he could continue that form into the back end of the season, he will do this side wonders, absolute wonders. And that's a massive credit to the mentality of Victor Gyökeres. And I was one of the people that said, get Sesko. Okay, Sesko might be a guy. He might be talented. He might be better overall suited for this Arsenal team stylistically. However, though, when it comes to mentality and what this team has to have faced this season in terms of injuries and in terms of the pressure to score goals, especially when you're not scoring goals in this front line. Mikel Arteta said in the summer, he needs the guy with mentality. And I think Victor Gyökeres is showing that he has the mentality that when pressure stake moments are coming up for this Arsenal squad, he is the guy to have in there. And more to him, more power to him. That's now 5 straight North London derby wins. Mikel Arteta is the first manager to do that for the Arsenal. Some of the greatest Arsenal teams haven't even managed to win 5 straight North London derby wins. And I don't think we've lost since they've opened that new stadium down the road at Spurs. So that is like our second home now. So big up the boys. That was a massive reaction to the Wolves game. And no, the big one is every single game after that. Every single game, no, for in the Premier League is a final. Every single game in general, no, should be treated like a final. When you talk about the last 10 Premier League games, every single one matters, especially with City breathing down your neck. On top of that, FA Cup, we're at a stage where you lose, you're out. And we have a really good chance of going far in the FA Cup. You have a literal final against Man City in a few weeks. And we're going to talk about it later for the UCL draw. We will see just how massive that draw is. I have some stats, I have some previews to look at for you guys. Looking forward to the UCL draw. But looking forward to Chelsea. I want to ask you guys in the comment section down below. Leave your comments. Who would you start in this London derby against Chelsea? I know there's some big controversy around Odegaard coming back into the team. Do you play Odegaard or Eze? Do you make a change with Zubamendi and Rice? Do you bring in Norgard? What would you do, ladies and gentlemen, in the comment section down below? Leave your comments. Let's have a conversation about this Chelsea versus Arsenal game, because for a lot of people, this is probably one of our last big games. I would say the last game against the Big Six, barring Man City. We're at home. We have an opportunity to do something absolutely massive. And if we beat Chelsea, that could kind of be like a real statement. Okay, after the Wolves game, after the Brentford game, they know put back to back of their rivals down in the dirt. And I do think this is a really good chance to not only win against Chelsea, but have a statement win against Chelsea. So let me know in the comment section down below, people, who would you start in all aspects of this pitch? I want to get your guys' help on building this starting 11. For me, let's look at the last Premier League game we played against Chelsea. That game, Caicedo was in the midfield. Reece James was in the midfield as well. Enzo Fernandez was in the midfield, and we played Eze in that game. We had Zubamendi, Rice, and Eze. And it was a very, very difficult game for Eze. Every single time the ball got into him, Caicedo was on him. He was kicking him. It was a really difficult game. Yes, Chelsea were at home. Yes, they had the momentum. Yes, they were going into that game on a different run of form with a different mentality. They are also missing some key players for this game as well. They might so all right, people, can you think we're back? I think we're all good and we're all ready. So as after what I was saying, sorry about the technical difficulties, people. Apologies. Let's keep going. Let's keep flowing. Let's keep rolling. But yeah, this is a big game for the Arsenal. Looking back at the previous one, Eze really didn't do too well in that game, and ultimately Odegaard came off the bench. He was the one to get his foot on the ball, give us some moments, and then that's when we've really started to show our quality, really get back on the front foot. And yes, even though Chelsea took the lead in that game, ironically, from a set piece, we had to fight our way back in that game. We didn't have a Jokeres in that game. We didn't have a Gabriel. We didn't have a Saliba. And they really were able to show their threat with Estevao in the first half, really show their ability to really counter on us and really show us some threat. But ultimately, it was from a set piece in which they scored. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the comments what you would do, because I think that's a big, big talking point in this game. Um, Going on further, what I would do, hold on, just having some difficulties here. I don't know what's going on. All right. So what I would do going into that game, I think you have to start Eze. I think he's coming off the back of a really, really good performance. And against Wigan, he didn't get to start going into the Wolves game. And that's really the game where you say, okay, build your confidence, build on the performance that you just had. I don't know how he didn't start. I know obviously we play Saka in the 10. It's a great game for Saka to, if you're going to try that perspective, to play Saka in the 10, see how that dynamism works. And honestly, I do think there's cause for Saka to play in the 10 in future games. I really do think Saka has a future in the 10, but I don't want it to be at the expense of an Eze. I think that's something you go to maybe in the middle of a game. Maybe you want more control of a game and you don't have different options that you might ideally want. Then you kind of lean to a Saka. However, I think you absolutely, positively play Eze in the 10. And I think this is a game where he, for himself, needs this game. because I said last game against Chelsea at the Bridge, he didn't have his best game. He didn't have his best half in that first half. However, this needs to be a game, not only for Eze, for multiple other guys, but starting with Eze, where he is able to come in and prove himself to say, you know what? This team needs me. They bought me to be the difference maker in these big games. They gave me the number 10 shirt because I'm a difference maker. I know I can get goals. I know I can get assists. You've shown that this season. Now it's time for the running. I'm not saying he's going to play every game in the running, you want to keep feeding that hot hand. You want to keep your form going. You want to go like this for as long as you possibly can. And that only does Mikel Arteta give him a headache because Odegaard is going to be breathing on your neck for more minutes, for more performances, for more game time. You need to keep him out the team. And I think everyone wants to see Eze thrive and Eze flourish. And for me, you go with Eze in the 10. I think Eze is a good choice here. I think ultimately with them missing a lot of guys, in that first game, obviously, I'm talking about the 1-1 draw. They had Enzo Maresca. No, they had Liam Senior. And we've seen in those two games against Liam Senior, there's opportunity to get at Chelsea in that 3-2 win at the Bridge as well. That should have never been a 3-2 game. We should have went out there and put that game to bed. It's ultimately us showing our ugly head and some of the bad habits that we've shown across the back end of the season so far, giving teams goals. Garnacho, really gave Garnacho two sloppy goals from Arsenal perspective. And I want us to rectify that out of our game. Get that out of our game. Not only in all competitions, we need to show better quality when it comes to that. So I do think, hold on, let me get this comment off screen. Ah, how can I get this comment off screen? Hold on, people. It's not letting me get this comment off. Anyway, this is glitching. I'm actually kind of annoyed by this. But yeah, anyway, I do think you start Eze in the 10. You have to start Victor Gyökeres as well up front. I think he has also shown an ability to be a battering ram up there for us, show us be our goal scoring outlet, show some quality up there in the front line attacking stretch for us. He stretches the game well. Know he's adding bits and pieces to his game. Can he consistently link up the play? Can he consistently be that threat in the box? He's already scored against Chelsea so far this season, a really good poacher goal, and he got a really good assist for Zubamendi. That same ball fed into his feet. He flicks it around the corner. Zubamendi does really well to beat two man and slap it in the top corner. So a lot more of that, a lot more playing central is going to be a key to beat Chelsea, especially under William Senior. Can we get the ball central? Can we get through the lines early? Can we play it quickly out to the wings? And really, can we exploit Chelsea in the areas that what we want to hurt them? So honestly, I'll go Victor Gyökeres up front. Other big standout points for me to point out in the team. I'm gonna go a repay the faith in Trossard. I'd probably go Trossard again over Martinelli. For me, I just think even if Chelsea do decide to deploy a low block, I think Trossard, along with the Victor Gyökeres, has shown a good tandem. They're showing a good tandem there that he is a good creator for Victor Gyökeres. He allows Victor Gyökeres to drift into those spaces, and even when Trossard is in pressure, in trouble, he's able to clip one over the top for Victor Gyökeres, play into his feet, play off of him, find those runs in the channels for him. And even well, he Trossard does a good job at getting us further up the pitch, which is also another good thing that I think he brings to his game. His hold up play is really good, and when he's on it, he keeps the ball really well. His passing is sometimes and often solid, and he also has that eye for a pass. So I do think you have to go with Trossard on the left wing. Even though Martinelli, he didn't play the last game against Spurs, or yes, he did. He came off the bench. He'd probably be saying, okay, well, give me some minutes. I probably repay the fifth and the Trossard, give Trossard another start from the jump. And yeah, to continue the lineup, I'd probably go with Raya, obviously, in goal. Timber was brought off after 60 minutes. Now, I don't know the fitness of Timber. We're going to have to wait until the reports come out on that. But I'd probably go with Timber again just because he's shown the most consistency there. Again, I don't know the fitness of Ben White. He didn't make the squad at all against Spurs. I don't know if that's because the bench was too big. I don't know whether he's dealing with something. Nothing really has been made of the Ben White speculation, but I am keeping a keen eye on that. Either way, Mosquera stepped in brilliantly against Spurs and did a really good job for 30 odd minutes. So big up to Mosquera. I wouldn't start him in this game. I'd probably go with Timber from the start again with Saliba, with Gabriel alongside him at centre back. And at left back, I think you have to repay the faith in a guy like Nkapia. Even though Calafiori was started the season was the mainstay at left back, he did give us some great moments early in the season, gave us some good moments last season. I think Nkapia shows you he can play that ball over the top. He did it brilliantly well against Spurs. He has eye for a pass, like I said, and his ball carrying ability and defensive tenacity also bodes well for this Arsenal team. And it's a derby, so you want that bit of bite, that bit of character, that bit of tenacity in your team. So have to go with Nkapia from the start as well in that back four. I think that's growing now to be our back four that's one in rhythm, but a back four that's also getting to understand each other a little bit well and also complementary to the style of play going forward. In the midfield, I've had some thoughts about this. Do you play Norgard? Do you play Zubamendi and Rice again? And I think again, coming off the back of a great North London Derby performance, you probably go as Rice and Zubamendi again. For majority of the season, they have been brilliant. They have been the pairing that's gotten us this far in all competitions. Rice, player of the season, arguably one of the best players in the Premier League this season. His overall ball winning ability, winning the ball back, and also showing the ability now to take his game forward, set pieces again. Brilliant. We know about Rice, nothing to go into. For me, Mendy has started the Premier League well overall. I thought he's had a good first season in the Premier League to show where he's came from, his ball winning ability, his tenacity, even for his stature and size. He's shown an ability to put himself about on the pitch, win back those tackles, win the ball back. And Mendy has definitely earned the right to be a starter in this team. However, do we lack that little bit of when we have a Zubamendi rather than a Norgard? Just because Norgard's impetus in the game, whenever I see him play, is he gets it, and every single pass in his mindset is to play forward, play to the 10, play in behind, get us further up the pitch as quick and as directly as possible. And I think that works for a guy like Eze, who wants the ball early to feet, wants the ball to be able to shift his defender like what he did against Spurs. Sometimes let the ball run across him, drive into midfield space. And I do think Norgard, Eze, and Jokeres have been a trio that's worked really, really good in terms of transitioning us up the field really, really good. So for me, I'll probably lean with a Zubamendi. I do think the manager will leave Zubamendi. But again, man, it's hard for a guy like Norgard because every single time he steps on the pitch, he gives us really solid production. So you have to give a guy like then credit. Finally, can I get this off stage, please? Finally. People, if you're leaving your comments, just let me know in the comment section down below. I can't see them. I'm having a hard time here. But yeah, let's keep rolling on with the punches. In the front line, I'll go with Saka. Like I said, Saka, to be honest, coming off the back of another great North London Derby performance, I thought Bukayo Saka was absolutely brilliant. And again, he is someone that we just given him a new deal. He's been wearing the captain's armband a lot this season. He's going to want to be the guy that at the end of the season, who do you look to? That was Arsenal's main guy. And I think Declan Rice is the guy we look to now for the overall season. But from attacking's point of view, you don't win these big honors if you don't have somebody in the front line giving you the goals and giving you the moments. And so far, it's been Gyökeres and Saka so far this season. So long may that pairing continue to blossom and get well. Saka, I thought, coming off the back of, like I said, another great North London Derby performance, should have got an assist. And the game before that, he scored against Wolves in the 10 in those first couple of minutes. His dynamism, his fluidity, his ability to get on the ball was really, really key for us to win um, for us in that game. And then going forward from there, like I said, Trossard on the left wing. So I'd probably go Ryan goal. They have Timber, Gabriel Saliba, and Nkapia as the back five. Then from there, you have Zubamendi and Rice in midfield, Eze at the 10, with Saka, Gyökeres, and Trossard as your front three. And if you're asking me for predictions, my early predictions is Arsenal 2, Chelsea nil. I do think it's a London derby. I don't think it will be as easy as the North London derby, but I do think Chelsea are in a bit of a tricky period right now. Coming off the back of a draw against Leeds, they've not had the best run of form. They've given up goals to West Ham. They've been giving up goals to a lot of teams that have been down there. And I think there's an opportunity to really hang a scoreline on Chelsea. Now, I'm not saying we're going to beat Chelsea 4 or 5-0, but we have done so in the past. We beat them 5-0 in the 23-24 season when we needed a result at the back end of the season and when we needed to show some professional quality coming down to a Premier League title running. So yeah, I do think there's an opportunity here for Arsenal to get a big scoreline. I would like to see a big scoreline, but I'll probably be more conservative in my prediction and I'll go 2-0 to the Arsenal. So yeah, people, like I said, don't forget to leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. Who's your lineup? Who's your team? Who's your lineup? What's your team? What are you looking for in the team? What predictions are you looking for from this result? Also, what's your scoreline predictions? Leave them all in the comment section down below. Leave them all in the comments, and hopefully I can get to them before I get off stream. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, I've been watching this video about from Rory Talks Football on the UCL draw. The Champions League draw is coming out on Friday, tomorrow, as you guys know. Looking back at some of the Champions League games over this last couple of weeks, we've had some massive ties. Juventus almost come back from 5-2 down and almost nick it against Galatasaray. Some poor finishing there, especially from Zagova in the extra time period. Just saw Juventus get knocked out. Galatasaray fully deserved to go through, by the way. Bodo Glimt, the surprise team of this Champions League tournament. They have done massively well to stun and beat Inter twice, no, over two legs, and go through there. We have Atletico Madrid convincingly winning their tie. Newcastle as well winning convincingly. PSG for a moment in time, they look to be under serious threat. The holders, however, they do their job and beat Monaco. And then Real Madrid take care of business at the Bernabeu and beat Benfica. So now it sets up a very interesting side of draws. And from an Arsenal perspective, there's some tasty ties here. So in watching the video by Rory Talks Football, his overall analysis and his overall pull from the bracket was Arsenal fans and Arsenal should want to get the blue side. On the blue side, you have a Newcastle United so far, you have Atletico Madrid so far, Leverkusen, and Bodo Glimt. Those are the teams that are already over there on the blue side. Compared to the silver side, you have the likes of Real Madrid, who are already over there, PSG, who are already over there, and other serial guys could end up over there. Now, if the draw goes in to Arsenal's favor, we could potentially see a lot of tasty ties coming out of it. For example, on the silver side, we could have scenarios like the day before we play Manchester City in the Premier League at the Etihad. In their midweek game, they could be potentially going up against Bayern Munich away in the Champions League, or potentially could be going up against Arsenal away in the Champions League. So we could really potentially be playing Man City at home, then Man City away, and then continue our difficult run of fixtures throughout that season, and still have to play them away again at the Etihad in the Champions League. So it's going to be a really tasty, really tasty affair, really tasty events. For me, overall, I want to ask the first question, ladies and gentlemen, to you guys in the comment section down below. Which one, as an Arsenal fan, would you want to see us win? And do you think we can win, or do you think we will win? The Premier League, 10 more games left, 5 points clear with Man City having a game in hand? Or do you think Arsenal, because you hear a lot of guys who study the game at the highest level say that teams around Europe look at Arsenal as the blueprint, or Arsenal the blueprint? We score from set pieces. We're well disciplined off the ball. We've shown attacking quality in Europe specifically. I think every fan can say that. I think every fan has compared the European form to the league form, the domestic form this season, and said, why don't we play like that in the league specifically? So I do think there's cause to say Arsenal have a really good chance when you look at the numbers and you look at the potential statistics that Arsenal can really have a good chance at lifting this UCL trophy. However, the Premier League is always your bread and butter, and you always want to win the Premier League, especially for a team like us who crave it so badly, especially coming so close over the last 3-4 years. So let me know in the comment section down below, people. What do you think? Do you rather the Premier League, or would you rather the UCL? I'll let you guys have your thoughts and have your opinions on that. For me, before I touch on that perspective, I want to ask you guys as well, my dream Champions League draw. Now, again, I gave you a lot of potential aspects. Man City could be potentially playing Real Madrid, then potentially Bayern Munich, which is very difficult task. It will take a toll on any squad, especially a squad like City, if they continue to battle injuries and if they continue to try to push us in the league. They've shown a history of doing it before. So can they go and do it again? This particular team hasn't, but that manager and some of those players have. So as much as we like to say it or not, they do have that experience of playing those games at that crucial time on the season. So yeah, it's going to be a real difficult one to see what they do. But I think there's some tasty ties in here for us. For like I said, there's a possibility for us to play Leverkusen, and then from there we potentially play Bodo Glimt, and then from there we're talking about potentially maybe Bayern Munich. There's a potential to face Atletico Madrid. a Newcastle, maybe even a Chelsea in there again. For me, my dream tie on that blue side, if we do end up on the blue side, because I really don't want to have to go through a Real Madrid again and a PSG again and go through that side. But if we have to, we have to. That's just football. But I do want to play Barcelona. I do think overall, in terms of height wise, the two stature of the clubs, you want to continue to prove yourself against the best. And I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, I want to be in the Champions League and I want to play the Leverkusens all the time and the Bodo Glimps and let's just shit host our way all the way to a final. No, I want to be able to go on my way to that trophy if we do win it for the first time in our history to say we took the scalps of some of these big teams, at least one big team on the way there. And I want to take the scalp of someone. And if I'm picking someone, this current moment with how the brackets are looking, I wouldn't mind playing a Barcelona. They've had some injuries as well this season. They also had some injuries in defense, in midfield, in attack. And while they do have special star quality players that can win you any game of football, Lamine Yamal, Robert Lewandowski, Rafinha's goal scoring ability, Pedri from the midfield, Frankie de Jong, he just picked up a hamstring injury, but we know he is a really top level player. Even guys off the bench who are like their squad players. We know Marcus Rashford is a serious player. He can cause Arsenal threats. We know Ferran Torres, who used to play in the Premier League for Man City, he can cause Arsenal threats. I was someone who was an advocate of getting a Ferran Torres maybe 2 or 3 seasons ago. Fermin Lopez, who is not talked about by a lot of mainstream media outlets, but when you watch him play for Barcelona, he is a lovely 10, ladies and gentlemen. He can score with both feet, lovely ball striking ability, lovely ball playing ability. He's Spanish, he knows the game well, and if push comes to shove, I know he loves Barcelona. He's a Barcelona product. He wants to stay there. But I'd love a guy like Fermin Torres in the Fermin Lopez, sorry, in this team. I thought it would be absolutely brilliant addition to not only Arsenal but for the Premier League. A really good talented player. So yeah, I think star quality wise, I think Arsenal against Barcelona in the semi final. I think that'd be a really massive clash for us. I think that would be a really tasty tie. And the way Barcelona play, I do think because Arsenal are so versatile in the way they're able to approach games, I do think going up against a squad like Barcelona, I do think we caused them a lot of threats, ladies and gentlemen. I do think we could really get at a team like Barcelona. We even seen last year against Inter Milan. That Inter Milan team got wiped in the final, but they gave Barcelona hell and ultimately went through against Barcelona because Barcelona just gave up chance after chance after chance to these teams. And they even do the same in La Liga. They give up a lot of chances, and whether they might not get scored on because they play that offside trap so well, you can get at that Barcelona team if you do if you play smart. And if I think with a guy as meticulous as a Mikel Arteta, with a guy who has this team set up so massively, so well drilled in all aspects of the game, I do think having a tie against Barcelona, I think overall there's a redemption factor there, there's a storyline factor there, there's star quality players there, and ultimately it's a big name that you want to be able to scalp on your way to potentially lifting a Champions League trophy. So for me, I would love to play Barcelona this season. And I'm not asking for it. People are gonna say, "Oh, if you play Barcelona, you get knocked out. You ask for this." You again, I don't care. People, you watch football because you, especially the Champions League. You watch the Champions League to see these big ties, to see your team testing themselves against Europe's best. I want to see us. I mean, we played PSG 3 times last season. We played Real Madrid. I don't mind playing these teams again if we have to. Like I said, but I do want something a little bit fresh again this season. You know what I mean? Real Madrid and Man City feel like they play every year. I also want to see a different tie there. But yeah, we could end up on the blue side as well, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get it messed up. We could end up on the blue side and still play Man City in a quarterfinal. If they end up getting Bodo Glimt, we get Leverkusen. The winner of each tie ends up playing each other in that same tie as well. So there's both aspects of either we can avoid City or still play City and still get a favorable draw against the rest of the bracket. So there's a lot of different factors, a lot of different scenarios, a lot of different variables when you look at it. Um, and all things considered, like I said, you can either play a Liverpool or as well at the top of that bracket, a Barcelona, a Tottenham. Let me know in the comment section down below. Who would you like to see Arsenal play? And who would you fear not wanting to play? Honestly, if it were from a fear perspective, I just don't want to play any Premier League team. Just because they're gonna have a blueprint by one playing us at least twice by then in the Liverpool, if you talk about Liverpool or Spurs, maybe Man City, they'll probably be are coming up to play us for a second time. So they're gonna have the scouting report on us and how to do their due diligence to stifle us. Maybe not Tottenham because we slapped them, but probably a Liverpool and as Liverpool especially, I should say, because they beat us 1-0 at the at Anfield, and also on top of that, they got a real shit host of a draw at at the Emirates. But yeah, I probably wouldn't want to play a Premier League team just because they'll have the scouting report on us, they have the blueprint on us, and they're more open minded to sitting back maybe on the ball and stifling Arsenal, making it a stop start game, making it a more physical approach than let's just say Barcelona, who are going to want to apply their way of playing football to the game, their way of doing things, and flex their muscle just as much as Arsenal would want to come and flex their muscle as well. So I do think Arsenal versus Barcelona tie is probably my dream tie in terms of big names, the draw, the storylines, everything that could be put to that tie. And the ties I fear the most or wouldn't want to see would probably be against like a Premier League opposition, specifically a Liverpool or something like that. But yeah, going back to the question I asked you guys earlier, would I want the Premier League or the Champions League? And I'd probably have to say the Premier League, ladies and gentlemen. Again, the Champions League is not something we've won yet. And I know winning that would be magical. And it would definitely hold just as much weight as a Premier League trophy, in my opinion. I think lifting the first ever trophy for under Mikel Arteta in the last couple of years, the last 5 or 6 seasons, and then it being one of those majors, on top of the fact being if it was a Champions League the first time in the club's history, I do think that would be absolutely massive. However, there's been something brewing in the Premier League, and I do think with Man City winning so many Premier Leagues, with Liverpool winning a Premier League, I do think there was a moment in this fan base where we were saying, I know we're not always privileged to it. It's not a privilege, but when Man City do fall off, when Liverpool do fall off, who is the next team to step up there? And for season upon season, it's always been Arsenal in that bracket to really take that step forward as the next team to win those trophies. So for us, I would like to win the Premier League, and I do think we're really, really close, especially this season where you can look back on it and say we could probably had this league wrapped up by mid-January, end of January. We could have really had this league wrapped up. To not win it entirely would definitely be heartbreaking to some extent, just because of how much work you put in, how hard it is, how difficult it is in this Premier League to pick up 3 points. I do think that winning the Premier League would be a massive, massive achievement for this team, especially due to the fact that people might say, oh, we're the worst Premier League champions ever. We don't have the 90 plus points tally. I don't care about those things. I think right now it's about getting over the line. And this is what I said in my title. It is crunch time, people. It is crunch time. Hold on. Sorry about that, people. We're back again. Sorry for so many technical difficulties. Finally getting the stream setup sorted out. So much difficulties, but bear with me. But yeah, I do think there's a massive, massive factor to get over in the Premier League. I do think you want to get over the line in the Premier League, and you really want to win that because we pushed so hard in that competition. We've worked so hard in that competition, and ultimately the goal ultimately for this team was to win that Premier League. And I do think winning it would be massive for this team. But like I said, people, leave in the comment section down below who would be your dream UCL tie. Do you want to win the Premier League? Do you want to win the Champions League? Which one would you pick if you had to pick? For me, it would probably be the Premier League, even though I would love to win both if we could win the Champions League. Um, and yeah, let me know in the comment section down below what you think about the Chelsea game. What's your predictions? What's your lineup? What's your thoughts going into that game? As it's a massive one for the Arsenal to keep the momentum going in the Premier League. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Trying to have more lives around the same time on Thursdays. And like I said, people, don't forget to show the love and support to the channel in the comment section down below with a like, hype, or subscribe. Catch you in the next one. Love for the love. Peace.